too if you want.
Yeah.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BETSPERTS.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Andy, hope your weekend was as fun as mine. I went down to Savannah, Georgia. Saw my brother and his family. Great time down there in Savannah. Crypto making a little bit of a bounce. We might have hit the floor, or it's the dead cat bounce. Tough to say, but that's got me in a good spirits. NBA playoffs so far. I've been on a nice little heater. Hopefully, again, not to jinx it. Not to jinx it. My only loss in the top in the first 8 games was Knicks money line I had. That was not great. They blew that to the Hawks. That was tough. But it's been a great week so far. A lot of stuff going on in the world of sports. A lot of stuff going on in the world of a lot of things. So I think we're just going to do a little bit of a rambling grab bag today.
Yeah, maybe
if that works for you.
I'm going to pepper you with some questions and we'll bounce from there.
A poo-poo platter of topics.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit. I want to mix in a little bit of crypto talk, and in particular, some cognitive biases and some lessons, some hard lessons learned last week. A couple of real miserable days, including yesterday for a lot of the day. But yeah, it's going to be a kind of a grab bag of an episode. Probably not going to talk much NFL. Probably not going to talk much baseball. I'm going to save some French Open talk for when we actually have a draw.
Yeah.
We'll do some soccer and some stuff later this week.
No, and if you are hungry for football, we will be back to it soon. But we were talking off air. I do a bit of a reverse countdown from how many preview episodes we need to do to cover every team. We need to do the episode where we covered the schedule, talk about all the scheduling quirks, and then one other one. I did the reverse countdown. It looks like the day after the 4th of July weekend. That is, there might be a bonus pod in there. There might be a little bonus stream somewhere there if we have some big event we really want to hit on. But from July 4th until next January, it's mostly NFL. We will be going hard NFL, back to our roots. Femi, our guy here, asking Euro 2020 preview.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think
buddy.
Two Wednesdays from now, I think, is when we're tentatively putting that. We had some hot takes about Euro 2020 in 2020. We were just spoiler alert.
I have some open bets, I think.
Yeah, I have to check. We like the orange and we like the Belgians, and we'll have to double check and check lineups and see if we still
France
do.
Too.
I still like the Belgians. Somebody else just mentioned they like them. So, we will be getting to Euro 2020. We just spoke about we're hoping to do at least one NASCAR podcast here over the summer. We'll probably touch on some more horses. We'll definitely get more into the NBA, more into the French Open.
Should you want to call Julio?
I would feel, and again, our policy.
I thought he's joining BETSPERTS. Isn't that the big announcement?
No, our policy is if we put somebody on the air, we're going to tell them, hey, you're on the air. Because I'm like, I don't know. And that's my first question. It's going to be Andy Ask Drew Questions podcast, just because, and I will ask you a crypto question to get you rolling on that for 20 minutes. But
thank you.
What is your we'll get to it. What is your percentage that what percentage chance that Julio knew he was live on the air? Or do you think it was all a bit?
Less than 10.
I don't think he knew, man. I thought he was
maybe zero chance, honestly. I mean, though the entire thing felt weird, and honestly, it rang and rang and rang and rang. He was slow to kind of really get going. I think he probably been like, "Who would put this on the air?" So, yeah, that was probably a little bullish with 10%, probably 1. I think that was a surprise. Of course, he'll cover. I mean, he and Shannon seem like they're buddies. But yeah, I think yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Halfway through, they're like, "Hey, you're on air," and after he'd already ripped on the couch.
This is on air, you know.
I'm not going to Dallas. I want to win.
Live. Yeah.
Oh, God, that has to just rip your heart, especially when, every fan base is so hopeful whenever when there's a free agent like this. Like, everybody thinks they're getting Rodgers. Everybody thinks they're getting Julio. Like, just go check Twitter. Everybody thinks, like he could, we have the cap space, and how good would we be paired with this? And, I'm 50-50 on Julio. It's a different kind of percentage I'm working with.
Oh, you mean that he'll be moved?
No. I'm 50%. That was 100% a bit, and he knew. Okay. But I'm 50%. It was zero. Like, he had zero awareness. Like, it was either a bit or he did not know at all. There's no way. There's no way he's like, all right, this time, let me check the time. Yeah, I think, I know all the shows. Like, I know what time it is in a different time zone. Like, there's no way he knew for sure. So,
no.
Where do you think he lands?
The buzz of the Niners felt a little real. Well, their assets aren't great in terms of what they can give back, which means if anyone wants it to prevent the Niners from getting him, they just have to offer a first, which would make sense for a lot of teams out there to prevent the Niners from getting Julio, because that does shift the balance of power a little bit in the NFC. I don't
have a strong take on that.
Yeah. I don't know that it's going to change my opinion all that much one way or the other. It would make sense if they did the deal with the Niners and they got back an asset like Ayuk or something like that, I guess.
Yeah.
The Chargers seems a bit too good to be true. Yeah, that's not crazy, James.
Oh, God, that would be that whole division. Can you imagine if the Rodgers to Denver thing goes through and then the Chargers get Julio?
No.
That's the sound of the Raiders just getting it right in the b-hole. My God, they're already going to be bad.
They might not win a division. They're not going to win a division game for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm by the way, I'm firmly in the camp of Rodgers is going to be a Packer. In fact, at this point, if you've been waiting, if you've been tickling like maybe I'll bet the Broncos just in case, forget it. If you've been tickling, maybe I'll bet the Vikings or the Bears or the Lions to win the NFC North. Nope. He's not getting traded. He's not getting traded. They're going to work something out. He will start. Yeah. He retires as many games as he's healthy. No, he'll start as many games. He's not walking.
I'm putting retirement higher than getting traded right now, though.
I'm fine with that, but I don't think.
Yeah, no, I'm like 98 2 and 0.2.
Yeah,
getting traded. It's so hard to get traded at this point, especially with the assets. It needed to happen with some draft picks this year, I think. So not happening. I'm going to pretend like people wrote notes and I wrote them down.
Okay.
And dear Drew, are you poor now because of crypto? This is just Steve in Overland Park, Kansas. That's all you wrote.
I'm not. I had the biggest losing day of my life last week. By a lot. Wednesdays,
well, it's not great.
And I don't know how, but this entire cycle so far, anytime something big has been going on, it's been going on in the middle of the fucking night in California. And weirdly, like, it has kind of tuned me into tonight might be an interesting night for crypto. And I kind of wake up at like 3:30 and I'm like, what's going on with the price action? And I'm like, what's going on with the price action? And then I sit there and stare at freaking TradingView app on my phone for 4 hours from 3 to 7. And then I crawl out of bed either elated or just gutted. And Wednesday was gutted, man. That was such a horrific melt. And I knew to expect that the drawdowns were going to be violent because we're talking about like the laws of big numbers at this point. And so big number up, big number down. Are both as good as it feels on the way up, as bad as it feels on the way down. And it was not a great feeling. I felt like I played the market pretty poorly on the way down. That's for damn sure. I was sitting tight. I knew that a drawdown was possible. We started to happen. The Elon Musk tweets about the Bitcoin energy FUD were a bad sign. You start seeing the China bans Bitcoin FUD, and you're like, the market is just way too sketched right now to be able to absorb this well. And I went to bed thinking like, okay, well, if this gets down to like 38, that's going to be like the best buy that we may ever see again in our lifetimes. Like that was what I was telling myself Tuesday night as I went to bed. And then seeing it get it down into that ballpark, and then seeing some orders get filled at 38 and being like, all right, I caught the bottom. Like, let's fucking go. And then that wick down to 30 at 29.5, whatever the fuck it was just like, just trying to like do the math in my head. Like, at what point do I get liquidated? Like, how low does the price go? Like, I can't log on. Nothing was like the entire kind of infrastructure was just failing. And that sketched me out too, because it's like, that's a pretty clear sign that we have a long way to go to really improve the infrastructure around all of this if it's going to work properly in that kind of a price action situation. So all of it really was quite unfortunate. And then the fact that all of like everything outside of Bitcoin, all of the alts, all of the kind of ancillary stuff that I've been messing with, trying out, the farming and all of that stuff, to see that get nuked was absolutely brutal. So yeah, it's been a bad month.
I was such a good farmer too, and then they just took away the fun of that because all the coins got shitty. Yeah, I bought some. Again, I didn't play the downswing well either. I bought some Solana at like 36 the other day.
And you're high-fiving yourself.
Yeah, I was high-fiving myself, and then the other day it went below 20. And by the other day, I mean yesterday. Yeah, it's back to like 32. I'm not. Yeah. Jumping off a bridge.
I had some bear thesis. Like, I had a bear thesis that was like, this thing's going to go down, and I was set up short for it, and I closed it too early, and I flipped it long too soon, and it didn't. And I ended up losing my ass on it, and that's just goes to show that I'm on the steep part of the Dunning-Kruger still. The Dunning-Kruger effect is real. I fancied myself a big trading expert. I got all into trading on leverage so that I could protect my stack at the top. And still managed to just absolutely, thunderfuck myself. So that was
that's quite the word.
That was something. Well, I mean, I didn't know I could lose that much in one day. Really, I wasn't the guy that $1 billion guy that got liquidated on the Huboy exchange, at least. So somebody had a worse day than me.
Yeah, and I mean, it's almost just like everything everyone's ever said to anyone about sports betting, like.
Oh, of course.
There's so much that it's just like, it's. I mean, what do you want to? The bankroll management essentially.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about a bunch of the cognitive biases that got triggered. Confirmation bias. You think to yourself, "Hey, it's a bull market. This thing's gonna go from 10K to 50. It does." And then you're like, "Well, I also thought it might go from 50 to 200, so it will." Right? Like that was a clear, clear one that came into play. Anchoring, which was basically like 38 is cheap for Bitcoin. I need to get in aggressively because this is cheap. And I didn't think we were even going to see this. And if we did, I was going to be aggressive when it happened. And that was obviously poor judgment. The green lumber fallacy, or really just, if I had just done nothing, I would be in better shape right now. If I had just been like, buy and hodl, like just sit around like, oh, price goes up, price goes down. Sometimes price goes sideways. If I was just sitting around doing nothing, I would be in better shape. So all that's told, I won't be doing deep dive episodes from my yacht anytime soon. So for the listeners, at least, congratulations. I'm not going anywhere.
We're not super rich yet. Then just, yeah. So let me grab this quick too. Dunning-Kruger is an interesting one too, because it's almost like you remember, who said it the best? I feel like it was Andrew Mack. You don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
That's such a big one. And I'm going to move our banner here too for the people watching, because that's a little tough to see with that in the way. But the Valley of Despair. Like if you're watching on the live stream, if you're listening to the podcast, you should go check this out about the 14-minute mark on YouTube. But yeah, there's a chart. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Like right away when you find something like this, you think you get it. Like, oh, I get this, and you don't. And like that was you a while ago, and then.
I gotta tell you, this is not a correct plot though, because you see that little bubble at 100% that says it's easy.
Yeah.
That should say it's complicated.
Yeah, it's not. It's never. This is like This is not built for markets.
No, this might be for like building cabinets.
Yeah.
Or something. It's definitely not trading.
Well, no. And to be fair, it doesn't always have to be. I don't think it always has to be, oh, this is easy, even though it says that's what the final step is there with a bunch of experience. The final plot point being it's easy. I don't think in this case it's like, oh, it's easy. I can just make unlimited crypto money because I know exactly what I'm doing and I can time the markets perfectly. I think that it's easy in this case would be, I have a better grip on my risk profile, and I'm not going to put myself in horrible positions. I know when I don't understand I know when I don't understand what's going on, and to just stay on the sidelines. Like, I think that's a big, again, we're taking this back to sports betting. There's so many bets you shouldn't make. Like that's a full on thing. Like there's so many bets that are worth passing on when you just have incomplete information. You don't have an edge. I think that's where you get to in any sort of markets like this, whether you're trading in the crypto space in traditional markets or whatever, or just trading. I mean, you can be trading on, Matchbook or something on, sports betting. Like knowing when you don't understand why a market's doing what it's doing is a good time not to be in that market.
Yeah. And honestly, at this point, I'm at sort of a little above the valley of despair right now, where I'm like, okay, I get it. This is complicated. This is hard. Like, I'll have some respect for what's going on here. I mean, I don't have strong price predictions for the rest of the summer, but I'd be surprised if we have a bull run again, like what we had from December to end of February, anytime again soon. I think we're going to have a decent breather at this point. And honestly, all of the money we're at the stage now where we're only going up if like institutions get involved, and it's like real heavy duty players who are, putting $1 billion down on the table, and they're not doing shit in the summer. Like this is going to be one of the most like take the summer off summers we've had in a long time. Like everyone was home last year, like working instead of traveling, instead of doing things. And now that like the vaccines are kind of setting in, generally, and people are starting to get a little more aggressive traveling, like no one's making life-changing money decisions this summer, I don't think. So I'm
not taking as many vacations after last week. Paris got switched to Paris, Texas.
I'm just glad I'm still married, to be honest with you. There was some angry words said around my household. A lot of I told you this was going to happen sort of stuff, and it was.
I've got it under control. How about our Bucks? God,
man, Bucks look freaking great. Hopefully we don't jinx them talking about it too early.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
Let's get into some NBA playoffs. Ask me a couple questions. I watched a shit ton of NBA, and my NBA takes right now are white hot fire.
Off the bat, you spoke about, and Noops played the Bucks 4.5 this morning on Big Bets too. I think that's what helped push me. I feel like I bet it out for a few reasons, but like everybody I like and respect bet.
Long way from over. Long
way from over. We got it's a lot of basketball we played. All right, one of your initial comments when we started the podcast was, "Hey, I'm doing pretty good in the NBA playoffs. This went right, that went right. Our Blazers won. That's good. We have some Blazers futures. Noops and I added the Blazers to win the West.
Did you?
In some times of uncertainty this morning. Actually, you know what? I'll lead with that question.
Okay.
With the amount of uncertainty in both sides, I think the East is probably. It's like, man, the Nets and Sixers are very good. Like in 7-game series,
Sixers are good.
The Sixers have an easy matchup. And then another easy matchup, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Their path. Let's just say their path to the Eastern Conference Finals is pretty paved. The Nets are very good. They have, the best compilation of 3 players I've seen in quite a while. The West, though, very wide open. Again, we spoke about it earlier. We said with the way the Blazers are playing, they probably shouldn't be 12-1. I think our thesis this morning was the market. The outright market still is the Lakers the favorite to win the West.
I actually found the 16th one, by the way.
Tell me where that is. The thesis was the books have been taking Lakers money all year at a variety of prices, and they just don't want it anymore. Like they don't need any more Lakers liability, so they don't need to move that number off of being a favorite. They're fine. You want to bet the Lakers right now, 2-1. We don't care. Like you're going to get a bad number if you want to bet the Lakers. We are not giving you. 4-1
you might be able
right
to
now.
get the Lakers 2-1 before they play the third game of this series for that series. Like it is entirely possible that the Suns win again in convincing fashion at home against a team that has a lot of questions that we still have to ask. But no, I would step back and say the Blazers were the biggest winners of the first weekend of basketball. We knew that they were the biggest winners of the first week. Them getting the 6-3 matchup with the Nuggets was just a gift.
Yeah.
They match up perfectly against the Nuggets. Honestly, like people don't understand really how good the starting and closing five for the Blazers is as a unit. Dame, CJ, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, and Yusuf Nurkic is about your second best 5 players on the court at one time by net rating, second after the Philadelphia 76ers starting 5. And I would say the Sixers starting 5, I have questions about those guys just because the level of competition they faced was slightly weaker than what we've seen the Blazers play. But that said, with Nurkic on the floor, with Covington and Powell, like they're a strong unit. The fact that Dame is a little bit of a defensive liability does not matter. And on the flip side, their offensive efficiency is spectacular. It's so freaking good. And now they get a beautiful matchup against the Nuggets. Can you name who the Nuggets have on their roster after MVP Nikola Jokic? Did you see some of these guys who got minutes?
Melo's still there? Is that not a thing anymore?
He is actually on the Blazers now.
that's why that joke works. Oh, yeah. Besides him and MPJ,
it's not good. It's not good. The
Austin Rivers.
They're counting on Austin Rivers, who, by the way, was cut by
That's the only one I can pull.
The Knicks cut him loose.
Yep.
By the way, that's the same guy.
Your 4-seed Knicks.
Your 4-seed Knicks cut him loose. Guard Facundo Campuzzo.
I believe he's a starter.
He's a starter. Yep. We're still waiting on Will the Thrill Barton to come back. We're not going to see Jamal Murray in these playoffs. Monte Morris is a shadow of his former self. Gary Harris was traded. He sure wouldn't be the worst guy to have right now to play a little bit of perimeter defense.
I believe Bol is on the roster.
Bol. He is on the roster, but he's not getting minutes. And in fact, they traded for Aaron Gordon, and Aaron Gordon is such a redundant piece in this matchup. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. The Austin Rivers, Campuzzo, Aaron Gordon, MPJ, Jokic lineup. Ooh, man. Ooh.
Are we saying we should take the? Should I triple dip down on Blazers money line tonight?
I don't see why not, honestly.
Right, it's like plus 110. I might as well.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to be a sweep for the Blazers. I just know that it's not a pick'em. This game should not be a pick'em. They shouldn't be 2-point favorites. I don't see what adjustments Michael Malone can make at this point to get his team back into it. And if they lose 2 at altitude and then they got to go to Portland and try to salvage the series, it's probably a wrap. Nurkic is a perfect big body to put on Jokic. Kind of the ideal defender to have in this series for the MVP. Jokic's 1 assist in game 1 was absolutely wild. MPJ can't create. Like the list of problems for the Nuggets is so long. Like if I'm them and I'm looking at the tape, I'm like, well, what do we do? Like I don't see it. I don't know. I can't see it. So that gives me a path for the Blazers where they get through this series relatively cleanly. 5 games, whatever. And the Michael Malone thing was bizarre. I didn't like that, honestly. And then they get a nice little time off to rest their legs to prepare for the winner of the 2-7,
Suns,
which looks like a war. That is a war, right? And it was funny to see the Suns will go off as a meaningful favorite in game one. You knew it was coming. They're dogs in the series, but everybody and their mother couldn't wait to get a Phoenix bet down for game one, because we all know it at this point that, LeBron was it was like he's treating this like a chess match, and he's like, okay, make your opening move. How are you going to open? Let's see what you got. Show us, how you intend to defeat us, and we will absorb that. Maybe we'll adjust in game one and win, but we'll at least, give us your best shot. And their best shot was very good, it turns out. And in fact, your second best player, Anthony Davis, got his lunch handed to him by DeAndre Ayton. And Anthony Davis only 5 free throw attempts.
I don't know if this is going to be a war. If the Lakers, all right, how the Lakers played in the third quarter and part of the fourth quarter against the Warriors.
Yeah.
That team shows up. Yeah, but that team was nowhere to be found. And this ain't the Warriors. This is a good team. This might be Suns in 5 or 6.
You think it's that? You think it's moved that much already?
No, I don't.
It could be. It could be. I'm not saying that it can't
buddy.
be.
I'm just saying, what I, from my casual's eyes, I'm like, the Lakers don't look like it's almost like the hangover from winning one. All right, we got one. Do we really want to go up there? Is LeBron that skit that one guy made about all those guys signing with the Nets? He's like, I'm 36. He's just getting all mad. I don't know if he's, able to pump this team up and lead them right now. He's got his, they went and did it again. Asterisk. It was a bubble championship, but they, are you as jacked up to do this and go face the goddamn Nets again? So I don't know. I didn't see it from the Lakers. We saw in the third quarter, they can turn it on. If they play like that, this will be a war. If they don't, Suns in 5. It ain't easy to go to LA, I suppose, but still, the Lakers look like shit. In my opinion.
I mean, the Suns. I mean, who knows if CP3 manages to stay healthy through this whole series? Also,
that's fair.
Without him on the floor, floor general, Lakers have a chance back in. But but the major takeaway I had from that game one, this is not going to be easy. It's not. This is going to be physical. It's going to be, blood will be shed. I do think this will be a win.
Well, you saw LeBron go down.
I know his arm got pulled. It looked so bad. Oh man! And
this is coming. Do a moment of silence.
This is coming off the eye. I mean, this is thoughts and prayers to LeBron.
It wasn't good.
Yeah. Plus, he was at that tequila thing. Who knows? Who knows? It could be.
All right, that's my next question. Before I get to my next question, the NBA came out with a report today from a group of doctors that nobody knew existed until today, and said hey, also don't forget when this whole thing started, we put together this panel that can put out press releases like this, and here's their is this their first again? Casual Andy. Not a big NBA.
I've never seen anything.
Is this their first press release ever? Hey, oh, by the way, LeBron, he was touching the post, so he was safe. That's fine. It felt like something a child would say. Susie sneezed on Bobby, but he was wearing a sweater, so it's fine.
Yeah, he was in the neutral zone, so.
Yeah, it just felt really forced. Honestly, it would have been better just to not say anything than do that PR. So it is what it is. At this point with the vaccination rates, I'm not worried about this, but it's just funny that they came out. My actual question would be on the Knicks, and this is where I started with before we got off topic.
No, let's keep going with the West. Let's save the Knicks for later.
Okay, save the Knicks. All right, so our other Western Conference is.
Yeah.
Well, should we go Clippers? Let's go Clippers.
Yeah.
What did you make of that, and how tired they looked at the end of the game, especially our guy. It's not like they did. And correct me again, casual Andy. Were the Clippers in the play-in games?
No. Even more than that, they tanked to get to the 4. Yeah.
They lost to Houston and Oklahoma City.
Yes, to get this draw, against the Mavericks team. My major takeaway watching the game, I have in the back of my head been wondering what was going on with Luka all season because he's been playing heavier. He put on 10, 15 pounds. I'm not here to body shame him.
Yeah,
I'm not here to body shame him.
There was a pandemic, guys.
He put on a little weight. He had a little baby fat on him this year. And I didn't really get why until I saw game 1. And it was direct reflection of last year's round 1 series against the Clippers. Plan A, B, and C was put a body on Luka, knock him down. Let's just continue to knock him down. We'll make him make his points at the free throw stripe and take him out of his rhythm, not let him really kind of run this offense smoothly. We're just going to disrupt him by being physical with him. And to me, it looks like, he put on weight so that he was more able to be more physical. And even in the moment where he knocks Beverly over and he's like, making specific comments about like, well, who's bigger now? Like that kind of stuff, I think was pretty telltale in terms of what his philosophy has been coming and preparing for this series. So basically plan A, if you're the Clippers and you're figuring out how to defend Doncic, you need to throw it out the window and start over. You need to plan B quick. And it's probably going to have to be put Kawhi on him. And Kawhi was, I didn't get it. Now he played a lot of minutes. Is he just like he hasn't played enough this year? And he's like a little out of shape. Like I did not get what was going on at the end because I completely agree with you. He looked gassed. And maybe it's because he's had to carry too much of the offense, like from a playmaking standpoint, because they really only have one of the guy that can handle the ball in Rajon Rondo, and he's usually not on the floor at the same time. Like it could be that just like he's weighed down by how much they're asking him to create on his own. But it was a surprising turn. And I would guess that if you're Clippers, now you have the more talented roster by a mile.
Well, yeah.
And you should be able to put the pieces together and bounce back pretty aggressively here. Now, I haven't played them for game 2. I've been staring at this number. I'm expecting it to go up. I doubt it closes 6. It probably closes 6.5, 7. And it wouldn't shock me if they have, some plan for how to disrupt what Dallas was trying to do offensively. The game was like, it was a weird game in a lot of ways, like super low possessions, something like 80 something possessions in total, which is really strange for both a Clippers and a Mavericks game. Like you don't see a lot of those. And the 3-point shot wasn't falling. Marcus Morris was awful. Only 13 minutes from Ibaka. And so, just in general, as I look across the sort of the ashes, I see a lot of things you could have done differently. And Tyronn Lue, he's a fine coach. He's got the ability to move the pieces on the board around and come up with different strategies. He's shown us in the past. Now, I'm not going to say he deserves all the credit because obviously that was a LeBron team and LeBron is himself playing the chess. But it definitely, I think there are things they can do to tilt the series back in their favor ultimately. But I need to see it before I get involved in the Clippers. And there's a lot of warning signs about the Clippers. And like, I feel a lot less good about their closing 5 than I did a couple months ago or even a month ago. We couldn't even agree in our NBA chat who the closing 5 should be on this team, which is a problem because if you don't know who they are, then, there's pretty clear and obviously there's a couple weaknesses that you can attack or you can force the ball to and make them put up a bad shot. So there are some warning signs here with the Clippers, I got to say. And in the back of my head, Paul George potentially no-showing again in the playoffs. And then the team kind of chemistry does not feel great. This could go sideways and it could get bad. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to lose to the Mavericks. Again, they're the way more talented team. They should prevail. But they're going to have to fire a lot more bullets than they expected to in the series. That's for damn sure. This is not going to be 4-1 Clippers. And I'm hopeful that it's 2-1 Mavs and that we get a decent series price on the Clippers at that point, or maybe even 3-1 Mavs.
Also, just another reason why I love my Blazers ticket.
Another one.
This is going to be a war, and I mean, I agree with you there. And I did want to touch on this before we got to the East too, is like what we found out, like all these teams are kind of messy. Like the things that are happening with Clippers lineup, the Lakers effort, the Nuggets
the Lakers lineup too. And Andre Drummond is getting 20 minutes a game, and he's effing you.
This is what happens when you put together these teams with 2-3 really high end players. Your benches get weird. Your starting five gets weird sometimes. But it's funny, like between the Lakers effort and lineup, the Clippers lineup and closing issues, the Nuggets just matchup issues right now. The messiest team might be the Jazz. All of a sudden, we're finding out between some of these reports where, like, the strife.
Think that was real?
I don't know. I don't think
it seems so outlandish that I want it. It has to be.
But hashtag.
You think NBA players care about their Raptor rating? What the hell was that?
I would.
What is your Raptor?
I don't know. Like our hoop at home right now is set at 8 feet. So like because the kids aren't tall enough. So like
you're as good defensively as.
So I'm a defensive monster first off, but all my shooting stats are like you can't count those because it's not. So if I'm D'ing up really well, it doesn't matter. But when I'm shooting, it's like it's not at the right height. Like my arc's all goofed up. So like whenever I miss, I'd have made that on a 10-footer. And the rim is super. It's a little stiff. It needs to get worked in. I need to get up and lay down some monster dunks on that thing yet. But no, I don't know. We'll kind of skip over that just because it probably doesn't age well when we find out this is just all made up tomorrow. But
I would hope so.
I hope so too.
Whatever the case is, the Jazz have their own problems. They don't match up great against the Grizz. They don't match up great against the Clippers. They don't match up great against the Mavericks. I don't get it really. The Jazz should be with Donovan Mitchell back. Let's assume he's 90% himself by the end of this series and they advance.
That helps.
The Mavs or the Clippers are not, at that point they should be dogs. Clippers might be small favorites or pick 'em. Mavs would be meaningful dogs in that series. But it's that's another tough series. It's going to be long. They're going to go the distance. And the Blazers, on the other hand, I think they match up reasonably well against the Suns, if that's what they draw, especially a Suns team that might be without the likes of a healthy Chris Paul, a Suns team that might be, that might be feeling themselves after finally getting a playoff series win, and if the Lakers somehow sneak through, it's not going to be without incident. And there are still a lot of questions about how this team fits together, who's playing in crunch time, who's doing what. It looks to me, at least, like you can get physical with Anthony Davis and take him off his game a little bit. Like he's not, 100% feeling like playing center, but he needs to be their center if they're going to succeed. If you play him at center against Yusuf Nurkic, then not a great matchup in terms of physicality, although he'll get to the free throw line a lot, I guess. But the Trailblazers at 16-1, 14-1, 12-1. I got them all today. I see a current number up at Bookmaker. You want to guess what it is without looking?
It's going to be a weird one because that's how they do like 898 or something.
Yeah, 920. Very, very good guess. Man, your number for a casual, your NBA numbers are sharp.
It's all coming together. You know what? I'm paying attention now. Even when I'm not watching the game, score bugs are up. Score bugs are up right now. And you know why our Bucks are doing so well? The combo of Pecan and something called Bryn Forbes. Of course. Bryn Forbes. Cleveland State's Bryn Forbes.
Let's talk about
those two are shooting. And that was my, and we'll get to your question here in a second, Ryan, but that was my next question was, we said, yes, the Sixers have a nice path and the Nets are stacked like a Hooters girl. There's also, force brewing in Milwaukee. Like, did we underrate Milwaukee? Are you jilted on Milwaukee, or is it just they're playing the Heat? And Pecan and Forbes are 8 for 11 from deep in a combined 19 minutes.
Regression to the mean, man. They were like 1 of 17 open threes in game one. Like one of those numbers is just like that it's not like, even if they tried to do that a second time, they couldn't. Like, it was that sure to regress positively.
I mean, that is the question. Will Milwaukee play a part in the Eastern Conference Finals, or just they don't get to play the Heat every series, so it's not happening?
Yeah, they will not, in my opinion.
Okay. That's kind of where I'm at. I got excited about this.
They're gonna dispatch the Heat in 5 probably, though. The Heat are not the same team that they were last year. It's taken me a long time to come to peace with this. Even though that game 1 went to overtime, it did so in wild fashion. Budenholzer finally had an adjustment up his sleeve that he's been saving since last year's unceremonious dispatch at the hand of the Heat, and that was, we're going to put Giannis on Jimmy Butler, because the Heat go as Jimmy Butler goes. And if Giannis is personally on Butler and forcing him to take bad shots inside the 3-point line, then we are going to have no problem playing decent team level defense against this Heat. And so far, it is working quite well.
What do you think? And maybe you're looking at stats. What is Jimmy Butler's stat line from the 3-point line tonight?
He is 0 for 0 because he doesn't take threes.
They're forcing him into. He's 2 for 6.
Doesn't take threes.
Making him come inside and take some bad shots. Yeah, 5 points in 17 minutes. That's how you end up down 25 points.
Yeah, and every time Bam gets the ball, they're fouling Bam. They're not letting Bam get the especially good looks on. That's good. Like, they're playing really well. They're playing their paint defense is just awesome. Where they struggle is defending the 3-point line. They gave up 53-point attempts to Miami in game 1, which is spooky. Miami went 20 for 50 from 3 in game 1, which at face value is a wild number. I guess it was overtime, so you have to factor that in. But 20 of 50 is crazy. You know what happens if you give the Brooklyn Nets 50 shots from 3? You lose by 25 points.
They're gonna make
a lot of those, and you're gonna lose your ass in that game. And oh, by the way, the Brooklyn Nets, I think they heard the criticism all year about not playing defense, because holy hell, their defense against the Celtics was pretty good.
How many times do you see this where it's like a team, they can play defense, but you look at them like, and it's like, and I can't use this year, that this number is going to be off because we played fewer games, but it's in a normal year, it's like, man, we're like a 50-win team. Like, do we want to put our effort into winning 60, or do we want to win in the playoffs? Like, all right, let's save the effort defense because you've seen some teams absolutely D up in the defense. That goes into the next question. We had a good defensive team.
Sure.
And again, I've tried to get to this point 3 times, and I just keep getting myself off topic. You said, you didn't say the word bad beats, but you're disappointed in the Knicks money line not coming through.
Yes.
I don't know. That was the game I watched the most of.
Uh-huh.
That was just a really evenly matched game.
Yeah, it was a coin flip.
It was a coin flip. So I'm assuming the Knicks were plus money there.
I got him at -110 on money line.
Okay, then I'm going to say it's a bad bet because it's evenly matched.
It should have been plus
+1. I would have taken them.
I'm not saying I deserved it. I'm just saying it was a really close call.
Yeah. No, it was a really good game, great ending, and boy, yeah, Trey really stepped up there.
God, dude, he's a big game player, and I knew that, but sometimes he gets a little too excited in those big game moments, and he does stupid shit and takes his team out of it. And he was a lot. Yeah, the 2 assists were
the 2 assists late.
That was a more mature Trae Young than I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, he was poised at the end. Once he beat that double team and got around the corner, it's like, oh, this is as soon as he beat a bad double team, a really disorganized defense at that point. Once he got around the corner and into the lane, it's like, wow, is there gonna basically my mind was, will there be time left after this goes in? Because it's going in. And then, yeah, not a great inbound play from the Knicks. I would have thought they would at least got something off. That was a little disappointing. Great from just a standpoint of watching the game. Really good game to watch. I was very taken in by it, and especially I almost felt bad for the Knicks losing too, because the arena, the fans were so jazzed like that. They were very excited. So I'm out of all the series. This is funny. If you would have said this. Like,
what are you most excited about?
Well, yeah, but not the beginning of the playoffs. Think about the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Say like with the Clippers super team, the Nets super team, the Lakers super team, and then let's say we get a little bit into the season, like, oh my God, the Jazz are really good, and holy shit, the Suns are playing lights out, and look what's happening in Dallas, and even the Nuggets for a while before injuries, and really the series I am absolutely going to tune in for, hopefully 7 games, is Atlanta, New York. It's like our friend. I'd have to paraphrase what I said, but we had a friend in the chat, Brinks. He went to the game.
Yeah.
New York guy. And he said, if you'd have told me the first live event I went to coming out of this pandemic was going to be a Knicks playoff game,
I'd have been like, what year? 2025?
He didn't even, I'm like, that's what I said. I'd been like, I would have been depressed because I'd have been like, oh my God, the pandemic took 5 years. But, so again, kudos to Tibbs and everybody, and Derrick Rose, who is about Tibbs' age. And I mean, just crazy how well they're playing. But yeah, I'm very excited for that to go forward. And yeah, it was like you said, evenly matched game. All right, I just wanted to call you on your bullshit if you were mad about that loss. Like, you can be mad.
Oh
about
no, I wasn't mad. I'm just saying, like if that had gone straight, I would have been like, well, walking out of week 1, like 8-0 or 9-0 in the playoffs or something like that. I'm calling it a season.
Dan says Atlanta has full capacity for playoff games.
It is.
It's Georgia.
Here's the thing though, like the game is a coin flip. All of them are to be coin flips, and I think this is the highest likelihood of the series to go 7 games.
Yeah.
And I think
but a road team already won.
Oh yeah. Well, the series has started.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, there's not a huge advantage for Atlanta winning their 3 home games and then closing this out in 6. I think this is going to go 7 ultimately. And the fact that you can get plus 200 on the Knicks was surprising. I have to say, I thought that was a pretty favorable price. I don't know what was. You can get plus 236 right now. That's an outrageous number considering this is pretty much a coin flip. And if you're saying the Knicks really only have to kind of go back and forth here between now and Game 7, and they're going to be minus 125-ish favorites at home, I don't know why you don't put a little plus 236 in your pocket, but presumably,
big assumption, but it does feel like this is going 7. The Knicks will not be plus 2, 2-1 dogs in Game 7.
No, they're not. No, unless Julius Randle would have to
half the team would have to die.
Julius Randle and Derrick Rose would have to collide and be in the hospital.
Rip their ACLs. Yeah, I'm probably gonna place that. I didn't get any Knicks. Again, our friend Alex Snoops, he played Knicks win the series 4-3.
That's a fun one
at a big number. Like, he put in a few of those. I like that one quite. Obviously,
because you're gonna get, because then you can just like hope it goes long and play the play the Hawks money line a couple times down the stretch. If they're up 3-2, you can play the Hawks money line and bail yourself out. If they're up, if they're down 3-2, you just hope for the Knicks to win game. You just let the Hawks ride it into Game 7. Yeah, it's a fun way to play it. I like that he did that. That's a fun play. Yeah, and Thibodeau, I think he has a little more in the toolbox to work with than Nate McMillan in terms of like just what he can do adjusting and the players he has to do it with. I don't know. It's tough to say. And I think they're going to be a lot more physical with Trae Young in Game 2. Trae Young is going to get the Luka Doncic treatment from here on out in terms of just let's pound this guy into the floor.
I just bet the Knicks 236. Put it in. I'm in. Clint Richardson's in. Let's go. We are Knicks fans in Game 2. I will be cheering along with me and Spike, just cheering it on.
Yeah, it's anytime you can be on the same side as the Garden in a live NBA game that you're watching is a fun time.
What is the weather like out there?
Today was hot. Probably got up to like 80 something.
Oh man, I did a fun run on Saturday.
Oh yeah?
And it was kind of hot. I got a little sweaty. I was not impressed with that. No, it was for the kids, but my son was getting tired and he made me run with him. So I had to run a 1K, which is 1,000 of something.
1,000 meters. Yeah.
Yeah. Took it out, man. It's been hot here too.
It is 80 degrees here in my coastal town. Real feel heat 83. So Ooh, buddy.
Yeah, get a
No,
haircut.
we've had a super great, cool spring so far, so I don't mind a little bit of heat here and there. I do need a haircut though, pretty badly.
I don't have a real question on Nets Celtics. The Celtics, I mean, people in our NBA chat joked about them losing in the play-in on purpose because it's like, man, do you want to go play the Nets with after the injury? Like the answer is no. The games are going to be, I mean, here's the question. And it's a little easier now that we're through game ones and there's a couple of series that are probably, they had the underdog or the wrong team won game one, if you will. But is this the most likely series for a sweep, or is it Milwaukee?
No, I don't think Milwaukee sweeps. Miami's good enough to give them a game at home.
They'll give them a game down there, and
honestly, yeah, because like I said, like Milwaukee still gives up the 3 at a bizarre high clip, and so one of these games, Heat shooting at home, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, like these guys are going to shoot better from 3 at home. The Heat just aren't going to win the series because they played Trevor Ariza for 14 minutes in the first half. There are a number of problems with this. Andre Iguodala is a corpse at this point. Getting a lot of Dwayne Dedmon minutes. And Dwayne Dedmon's playing well tonight, but he's minus 14. So yeah, it's not great. And
I mean, they're down 27.5. It's hard to have a good plus minus.
Tyler Hero -1. He's only played 7 minutes. So
somebody in the chat said that he peaked in the bubble. He is done. He's done being good at anything.
Okay,
Dragic with 7.
The most likely
are you
sweep,
saying that's the most likely sweep then?
No, it's probably the Sixers over the Wizards.
That's fair. Let's segue to them. Is it just it's just a bad matchup for the Wizards?
It's just a bad matchup.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're I'm split on this. So the Sixers won by 7. I played 6.5, by the way. So I got
a live 5.
Oh, you got a live 5? Nice. Yeah, no, I was just like in our chat on that line popped, and our guys were like, "Ooh, it's 6 or 6.5." I was like, "I can't believe it's 6.5. This is crazy. Like this is going to go to 8, and it goes to 8, comes back down,
close
7.5. I think it's 7.5 to close, so it definitely landed in the middle. I did not come back on the Wizards, even though the Wizards are covering darlings. I skipped that one. Nobody beats the Wiz against the spread in the closing number, at least. The ultimate problem for the Wizards is the Sixers play outstanding perimeter defense. You want to guess how many times this season the Wizards have been held to under 20 3-point attempts? Not very many. Not very many. They were 8 for 20 from 3, which is 40%. So you might think to yourself, oh, that's not bad.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad. 23-point attempts ain't getting it done if you're the Washington Wizards. And realistically, Embiid only played 30-ish minutes because he had a couple fouls early. If Embiid plays 36, 35 minutes, a normal playoff rotation for him, this is even more lopsided. It looked to me like Philadelphia didn't really respect how good Davis Bertans is from 3 for whatever reason. I have no idea how they don't know that. I thought they had a very strong analytics department up there in Philly under GM Daryl Morey, but apparently they gave a lot of looks to Davis Bertans, and he can shoot the 3 very well, in fact. And I think if they lock down that one aspect and they continue to play as well as they have, plus add a little bit more minutes for Embiid, Sixers and 4 is probably how that goes down. I could talk myself into the Celtics covering the number couple times here. I still think that's a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I think it might be you end up with the sweep. Maybe you end up with the sweep of the Nets sweep and the 76ers sweep, and they each go like 1-3 against the number, or 2-2.
It's not crazy.
Like just covering, but getting inside the number and the dogs. Like, yeah, just because we go out and say like, hey, this team is very liable to sweep doesn't mean they don't have to cover a single one of those games. These two teams are going to be favored in all the games
by double digits at some point, probably.
Yeah, I mean, what is your number for?
Let me see.
Sixers in Washington.
5.5
bullets.
Yeah, probably. It's probably gonna be 4.5, 5. Actually,
Maybe one of my last NBA questions too, and
Sure.
just because Dan brought up the fact Atlanta's having full capacity, the Garden was rocking, the Mecca was awesome. Everybody, it's awesome. I love it. I'm so excited about the fans being back. A team we're very bullish on. We made multiple bets on them on the shows, but are they at a little disadvantage because Portland isn't allowing very many fans?
Yeah,
but is it gonna be enough? Especially if they go 2-0 in Denver, I guess I don't give a shit if they.
In this series, it's not going to matter. I don't think. In future series, it could. Yeah.
And I guess I haven't checked into that if the state or the city, whoever's managing,
they are the 6th
going
seed.
To jack it up.
They're the 6th seed, so I can see a reality where they're down 0-2 to the Suns, and they got to go back to Portland, and they don't have the crowd to help elevate their performance in Game 3. And that being like a very tough way to go down 0-3, Similarly, Jazz in the Western Conference Finals would be like that. Clippers in the Western Conference Finals could be like that. But I also think I think highly enough of them that I think they can steal a road game against any of those 3 teams.
Okay.
Generally, in my opinion, at least, I thought the fans and the crowds were more impactful when you're involving younger players. Would be my kind of thesis. I think anyone who's played a lot of NBA series, Portland's been in Western Conference Finals. They've been in some really close, tough, hard-fought playoff series. These guys, so they have the reps. I'd be surprised if they needed the home court.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm down. I guess I can get with that. It was more of a question. A lot of these questions I know the answers to, and I will disagree with you. But
see,
I wanted your take on that, and that's a good take. It might not matter versus the Nuggies, but as you get deeper into the playoffs, that is going to suck. And maybe, oh man, this is like Nevada. I feel like I say Oregon wrong every time. Oregon. Somebody help me.
Mm-hmm.
But you just not
Oregon.
I'm just going to take out a syllable and say Oregon. Yeah, maybe by the time the Western Conference Finals come around, things are different. Things are changing every day. Our mask mandate is lifted in Minnesota. It feels super weird. Like just going into stores and everybody's just willy-nilly breathing over everything. I don't know what Cali's like.
It's all kinds of weirdness. Who knows? That's a good call by Damien. That'd be a fun one. It'd be a really fun one.
Here's something we threw around, and it's not something we threw around. I threw it out, and Whale gave it a flame emoji in a chat. Summer League.
Oh yeah.
Deep dive live from a Summer League. I would go out for a weekend just to go to some Summer League games.
Yeah,
I would rather go to a Summer League game than a Timberwolves game at the Target Center. Obviously, it's in Vegas.
No disagreement here. Okay, so the bet, like, I guess going back to just kind of put a bow on the Blazers. The Blazers against the Nuggets and all those alt handicaps that were all fire pre-series. Those were like real advantage spots, I thought. Like a big advantage and likely to happen, right? Blazers 16-1 to win the West. Decent advantage, but they still need a lot of things to go right. A lot of things have to go right. They got to stay healthy. They got to, you have to have some long, drawn out series against some of these other teams that, would stack up against them favorably. Lakers at the top of the list. If the Lakers turn around and just maul the Suns 4 straight games, I'm feeling a lot less good about that bet. A lot less good. Similarly, Clippers do the same sort of thing, and they if the Clippers maul the Mavs and then walk through the Jazz, I'm feeling a lot less good about that bet. But I think what we're seeing from the Clippers, what we're seeing from the Lakers, are teams that need to figure a lot of things out that don't look like the paper tigers, they don't look like the dynamite monoliths that were going to be difficult to beat in a 7-game best of 7 series that we thought pre playoffs. This is kind of my major takeaway from weekend 1.
Yeah. I guess, and my takeaway again for the final time of this episode, casual Andy, just very pumped that it is wide open. Even if the East is a little less so, I'm still excited for the probable second round matchups. I think they'll both be fairly good. And then just I don't know what's happening. Like, out of the 4 series, I guess I feel the strongest about the Blazers getting it done.
But the other 3, you have questions. Yeah.
So behind that, it's like, yeah, all right, the LA team should get it done, but man, like they didn't build any confidence in me hoping they'll get it done. And then, of course, the last one is just kind of whatever happens. That's fine.
The market tells you that,
and I think the Jazz getting up to health will take care of it.
Think about this: the market is telling you the Blazers are more likely to be around in round 2 of the playoffs than the Clippers or the Lakers, and almost more likely than the Jazz. Like, I don't know what else you need to know to look at the futures book and say that's not the right price at 16-1 if they're the most likely team besides the Jazz of being in round 2 in the West. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's now that you mention it, I guess I don't know what to think of that. Well, either way, day 2 of Phil Fast starts tomorrow.
Yeah, what did you make of the PGA Championship?
We're fasting. That you should never eat. Stop eating if you want to be good.
Second. Expound on that, please.
Phil Mickelson fasted for like 6 days, lost 15 pounds. Now he's going to golf again.
Wow.
So here's the thing. It's coffee with some voodoo oil and then protein powder. He puts almond milk and like L-theanine and then like honey and cinnamon in it. And he drinks a giant cup of this coffee in the morning and doesn't eat the rest of the day. Brett says, don't forget the Himalayan salt. And it's a specific kind of...
You should not forget Himalayan salt.
Pink Himalayan salt. It's a specific... Yeah. It's it's raw honey too. You can't buy your bee at the store. You got to get raw honey because that
sounds like some TB12 method shit. That's
it is. Oh, weird. Yeah, TB12. Like, has that ever worked?
Yeah.
Also, I feel bad because Ryan asked about this. Ryan. Yeah. Ryan asked value on the Lakers to win the series, and then 20 minutes later, I locked in the Lakers. He could not wait 20 minutes.
Confirmation bias, buddy. You wanted somebody to tell you. Yeah. I honestly, my Lakers. I have no real serious exposure to the Lakers right now. I have a couple smallish ones I got down during the regular season, like in January when I thought, Jesus Christ, this team's playing so much harder than I thought they were going to be before any of the injuries. I've been waiting to get a gauge on, how they're going to come together post injuries. I'm still not seeing yet what we saw from them at any point during the bubble playoff run. Now, I would have said the same thing after they lost game 1 to the Blazers. And then they went on to proceed to lose 2 more games in the Western Conference on the way to the finals from that point on. So obviously things can flip on a dime. But the way I look at the Suns-Lakers series right now, it's reasonably a coin flip that they lose game 2. And if they did, the price you're going to get is going to be much, much more advantageous to put a wager down on than the even money you're getting now. Probably gonna get like plus 260-ish, maybe plus 250. And all that will have happened is they will have lost 2 games on the road.
The series wouldn't even have started yet.
Yeah. The series would not have even started yet.
Matt bought K-Cups.
Phil has his own K-Cup line out, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, not only, once the story gets out about losing weight, drinking coffee, you have to brand your own coffee. Like, he's going to make more on this coffee than the purse he got from the PGA.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's buying that coffee today. It's sold out.
What else is in the coffee? Like amphetamines or something?
I think it's just really good coffee. Like he really likes that blend or something. It's beans, so I don't have a grinder. So yeah, I'd have to buy the K-Cups too. I wonder if it comes for an espresso. I'm with you on the Lakers there. I agree. I'm excited about that. I really want to see them play well in game 2. Like, as much as I think I guess it doesn't matter. I don't think one team is that much more of a threat to my Blazers. They're my Blazers now, but like it's like the poke the stick meme, like do something. I would like to see the Lakers try, play a little better.
Oh, they'll try. They'll definitely try. They're not going to go out without a fight. I just don't love their chances of doing it easily. That's for sure. Real quick, Phil, last quick question on Phil for you as a golf guy now, who has some golf content that if you're not watching, you should. Where Andy previews the course week in, week out, and you learn something about the course. There. Oh, dude, Usti was super. You had him at 90-1.
90-1.
Each ways, buddy. Each ways.
I didn't bet the top 5, but I had some top 20 pretty heavy, and then I went top 10 as well. So
that's good.
Got some money out of him. Like it's the old saying, like, what if I'm right, but I'm not quite right enough? And he gets like second or third. It feels so much less painful to watch him, just get that runner up when you have some top 10 and top 20 money. Like, all right, I got paid.
Yeah. I had 2 miracle sweats. I had a bunch of miracle fuckings. That whole PGA championship was just one long sweat. The market's tight right now.
I didn't pay attention to after my matchups after round 1. I'm like, all right, I'm not paying attention to any of these tournament long. We'll just let them all hash each other out. And I went 6-4, made money.
Hey, all right.
A few nice plus money ones too.
Well, what I was going to ask you is, Phil Mickelson, did he shoot his wad too early? Like he didn't. He already has the PGA championship. You know what his white whale is, though? It's the U.S. Open.
It is the U.S.
And
Open.
you know where the U.S. Open is? It's in his fucking backyard. Yeah. At Torrey Pines.
South Course.
What are the chances that he completes the career slam at age 50 on his freaking HGH coffee?
Not great. It's not good. Like 0.5%, you should be like, oh, that's not fair. He probably has a 1% win equity of getting it done. He's playing well. I don't know. I hadn't looked at Torrey, how it plays to lefties. Like there are some courses that, like Augusta plays good for lefties. I haven't looked too close at that.
It felt like Kiowa played good for lefties. Is that right?
Well, not only that, but guys who can hit that, I'm trying to think of it as it's harder for guys. Somebody was saying this, and then I looked at the layout too. People that were missing to the right, it plays poorly for. So, a left-hander that can hit a nice little. I always mix up fade and draw, so I'm not even going to try. It's like Stern or Port and what are the boat things? I can't even think of the boat.
Port, which is left.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stern. Starboard. Yeah, whatever.
Starboard.
And Will Nelly says no chance. Phil, it is going to be a really good field.
Aft and Stern is front and back.
Yeah, there you go. Poop deck.
Yeah.
Another boat term. No big deal. No, it did play nice for him, and like his approach game was nuts on, and he just did enough. And Usti not making any putts.
Bow and Stern.
Bow and Stern
is front and back.
How do we get to boats? Are we going to do wind circles?
You were saying port. You were saying it's like port and starboard. You didn't really have the read on it. And you know what else? Shame on us. We had the chance to do a patented deep dive halftime Periscope for this Heat Bucks game, and I would have been banging the table at the under, and we blew it. We missed our chance. Still opportunity to get a live under in this one, but
no one on the Heat. Oh, I was about to say no one on the Heat is in double digits, but Dedmon is.
Dwayne Dedmon season.
Dwayne Dedmon.
Let Dwayne Dedmon eat. Let Dwayne Dedmon eat.
He is. Oh man, this is rough. Bobby Portis 2 points. Let's go.
You need Bobby Portis over?
No. God no. That's not a thing. It's not a thing anyone should be betting.
Bryn Forbes is going to get some of these. I mean, it's hysterical that they chopped the Bucks roster so that Budenholzer wouldn't have these 9-man rotations, and he's still like, no, I'm going to find my 9 guys. Bryn Forbes, plug and play. 19 points later. Bryn Forbes was pretty good for the Spurs last year, so it's not like that's an especially outrageous that he's gotten 12 minutes so far.
When you're hitting your threes, everything seems to just fall into place.
Yes, that tends to be the case. Yeah.
All right, fuck it, let's call it a day.
50% from 3. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yowzers.
let's reconvene Wednesday. We'll think of something to talk about.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's a auto racing race this weekend.
Ooh.
There is a very big soccer match. Football for some of you guys. I would really like City to win.
And some absolutely massive BETSPERTS news.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Wednesday.
the biggest news we've ever broken on BETSPERTS.
Bigger than signing the deep dive. Even bigger.
In hindsight, that's going to look like an undersold big deal. But yeah,
I would think so. But no, we're big news. F1 content. We should get a.
We missed Monte Carlo.
And Monte Carlo's so gorgeous. Maybe out of any
Monaco, I guess is what they call it.
Sports venue, I guess would be the right word. You know, you look at the area, the drone shots of a really nice arena or wherever, like that F1 course is just electric.
All-time best.
They're just ripping through a city. I love that part. And then Dan says 2 soccer matches, not only the Champions League final, but the promotion playoff final between the Bees and it's definitely the Brentford Bees and another team that starts with the B. Probably all the teams in the championship have a B to start their name. So we'll get to that. I'm sure we'll talk.
Swansea. Dan's on it, man.
It's not even an English team. They're Welsh. So there we go. There'll be some soccer. We'll figure out something. We'll probably get a guest. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll get multiple guests. I don't even care. Let's do something weird Wednesday. Yeah. Big news Wednesday. We'll see you then. And look for the Euros in a couple weeks. Look for some talk about Belmont. A lot of stuff going on before we do our full transition to the NFL come 4th of July.
Absolutely.
Holiday weekend too. We got
to do an evergreen episode that's just sports bucket list, like sports. We'll just do a draft of places you'd like to watch live sports to bet on.
Get Suma on just for fun. We'll talk how good Schalke is.
Suma's way ahead of us on the NFL. We better start doing our homework.
Honestly, he's been doing a ton of homework.
He's way ahead of us.
Catch up,
he's way ahead of us. Yeah. We got to get our act together. All right, ready to kill this bad boy?
Yeah, call it. Hit the music. Let's call her a night.
I think the Bucks are going to win, man. I don't want to jinx it.
They are only up by 29. We still need to cover the 5. I don't want to see some fuck man.
I had one crazy Bucks blow a cover against the Sixers this year. They were up 14 in like a minute to go, and I had -6.5, and like they gave up a 3 turnover foul. Like it was like impossible that they could get up, get inside the number, and they did.